right? And so the lessons and the learning because of what happened. And so just because you're intuitive or psychic or advanced spiritually, it doesn't mean that stuff doesn't happen. But as you evolve and as you advance your consciousness, you start to realize your judgment, good or bad, starts to shift. Your perspective in life starts to shift. And as you get more centered in your consciousness, more centered in your oneness with all source, that you are just flowing through, co-creating, there's a reason for everything, and you are able to flow with things. And so if I had not buckled my seatbelt, it would have been a lot worse. If I was 6 inches further, it would have been deadly. And so it was just really, and the lessons that I had, and I just come from a prosperity class, and I had just written down, by the end of 1 year, I want an extra $10,000. Now, it turns out 1 year from the day I was called into my attorney's office, and after all the bills were paid, the check that was handed to me was $10,000. I'm going, not a great way to manifest. But not only did that happen, but the journey all through the year of needing some therapy and meeting the people that I met through the process was priceless. So then, and that moment, the point was I shifted and I said, instead of saying I want to be in the right place at the right time, saying and doing the right things, I now shifted to a very powerful statement. I am always in the right place at the right time, saying and doing the right things, taking full responsibility. I am in the right place at the right time, saying and doing the right things. And when you are able to start to shift that, then your perspective and your empowerment shifts dramatically as well. So the journey of psychic development started, and looking at your auras here, I can tell that you are definitely not beginners. That you have like a patchwork quilt of a specific color, yellow-orange, and that's a metaphysical color, and you can oftentimes tell what lineage of study, because the Alice Bailey has a particular yellow-orange, the Yogananda has a particular yellow-orange, and yellow-orange is metaphysical color in the auric field. So if you get really good at it, you could go, oh, and you studied with Yogananda, and you studied with this person, and this and that and the other. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of showy. And maybe it's from the color, and maybe it's just picking it up from the consciousness itself. But the other thing about seeing auras or any type of phenomena, or getting from being the metaphysician who is sensitive to the metaphysician that chooses to be a different type of channel and do professional readings, whether it be for a gift or free or for gratuity or a fee. But when you start to put yourself out there to help other people officially, and there's so many tools, tarot is one of my favorite. Using a pendulum is absolutely a must. I don't leave one home without one, or two, or three, because they're fun. Do I need this? No, I don't. I can feel the energy, but this way I don't have to think. I can just simply think, show me a yes, thank you, show me a no, thank you. And so I can just shut off my brain and I can just watch the little bobble. and then I don't have to second guess myself. Or when my conscious mind starts to think, oh, I'm so confused, I'm overwhelmed, what topic should I do? I could list them all down and go, I don't know what topic I should do. Then I'll go, okay, this one, that one, okay, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, okay, great. And so it makes it easy. I get this biofeedback device. So if you don't have a pendulum, if you don't know how to use one, I put together a package, and it's called the Natural Biofeedback Device. And I charge a lot of money for it because I do some work with corporate, and I was told that I can't go into a corporate boardroom swinging a pendulum saying, this is the best way to forecast your next year's budget. You can't call it a pendulum. It's too much like Harry Potter. And I'm going, but a pendulum is a pendulum. That's the way we do it. No, call it something else. So after a few minutes of banter back and forth, I kept saying, it's a natural biofeedback device. And they said, perfect, call it that. And I said, what? That's what it's called. And they said, no, that's what you name it. So here we have the natural biofeedback device that normally sells for $197. And in there is a CD and a workbook showing you, but isn't this little workbook much better than going through a 200 or 300 page book on how to do dowsing?
Absolutely.
Well, if you save that much time, then it's definitely worth that much money. I priced it this because I lost a contact lens. I had just gotten them. They were $300. And all of a sudden, the next day, I don't know what happened. I was missing one contact lens. And my friend came over, and I was so bummed out. I said, I just bought them, and one of them's gone. He says, did you check your pendulum? And I said, no. So we both pull out the pendulum, and we're, is it here? Yes. And is it in the, and he's, is it in this room? No. That room? No. That room? That one? That room? Office? Yes. So we both run into the office. He's on his hands and knees. I had like thick carpet like this. And I'm just standing in the corner and going, okay, it's in the here, yes. Is it in this quadrant? No. That quadrant? No. That. And I got a yes, and my eye went right to it. It was all shriveled up. I called the office, and they said, yeah, you can rehydrate it, no problem. I said, perfect. That's the price of this product. So anyway, how do you price objects? Yes.
Yeah, I'm wondering, what is the energy the same for psychic kinesiology as it is for the pendulum? Is it the same kind of dowsing? Can you do it that way?
I don't think that psychic or that kinesiology. The question was, is the same kind of energy that you use for bending metal or psychokinesis the same as using a pendulum? I don't think so. And what it is your brain is sending energy messages through your nervous system to your whole body all the time. So it's sending messages to your stomach and your kidney and your spleen and the muscles and the capillaries and the heart keep pumping and all of these things. And so all these little electrical pulses are being sent throughout your body. What you learn in this package or in a class that I teach is that you can train your subconscious mind and the autonomic nervous system. And the key to having a pendulum or any type of psychic development is through understanding the brain, how it works, and that consciousness, like the higher self, let's just imagine a higher self is up here, although it's not. And then our conscious brain is here in our mind, and then we have our physical body. So in order to access this higher consciousness or creativity, or even beyond that, cosmic creativity, we have to go through our subconscious, through our physical brain. And so if the brain is a series of filters, you have to clean out the filters. And if you never clean out the filters, the information that goes out through your like telepathy and through your auric field is distorted, and the energy that comes back in is your own distortion. So anyway, the biofeedback tool, the pendulum, what I do is I do a meditation, connect with the object itself, with the consciousness of the object, because every single molecule is conscious. There's a wonderful book called Consciousness of the Atom by Alice Bailey. you've read the same books as me. Yes. Okay. Okay. And so anyway, you connect with the consciousness, and then what I do is I have a physical piece of paper. And it looks, you could just do a simple diagram. And they can get complex or simple. And so I hold it in the center, and I'll say, and it has yes, and it has no and no written. So you see the words. So draw a circle and draw a line, and yes, yes, no, no. And then I'll go yes, yes, and I'll physically move my arm, and I'll say, this means yes. And I'll physically feel it moving. I'll see the words. I'll say the words, this means yes, as I'm looking at it. So I'm feeding all of this information, sound, physical feeling, visual, into my subconscious, and I'm training the subconscious. This means yes. And then I'll stop it and I'll say, this means no. This means no. This means no. And then I'll stop it and then I'll say, okay, show me a yes. Okay, great. Show me a no. And if it didn't respond, I would do it again. This means no. This means no. This means yes, until you get it. And sometimes it might take 3 or 4 days of doing it 2 or 3 times a day. But usually people can do it pretty quickly. And then it's trained. It knows what it's trying to respond. And then it's an unconscious thing. So you don't even have to think, and it goes, show me a yes, show me a no, and it can be that fast. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
now
I'm just confused about something.
I'm going to get to the kinesiology. The psychokinesis. Okay, now psychokinesis is a whole different energy. And psychokinesis, I can't speak for Jack Halk, who was the expert in it, but I met him in the 1980s. We became very good friends, and I helped him with many of the PK parties. He passed on in 2013, and starting around 2000, he kept saying, please start doing the PK parties on your own. But I couldn't find a source for the metal, for the forks and things. And he... and I said, where do you get them? He goes, well, silver plate spoons is really what I needed. Silver plated, because there's grain boundaries. There's little spaces in between the molecules of a spoon or a fork on silver plate. More than on stainless steel. It's made differently. And sterling silver, if you're wanting to use it to bend metal with your mind, do not do sterling silver. Because, because Jack said it's too soft and it's too valuable, so it won't really prove anything. So don't use stainless, do not use sterling silver. It's too valuable and it's too soft to prove anything. And silver plate is good because it does have more grain boundaries. So the phenomena of bending metal is you start to channel. There's 3 steps. You connect with source as powerful energy. Number 1, connect. Number 2, you command and you focus. So in the PK parties, we go, step 2, we go, okay, bend, bend, bend. And some people go, bend, bend, bend. It's like, is that as focused as bend, bend, bend? Okay, so even when you get excited and you focus, people don't realize they're not really focusing, okay? So focusing and intention on specifics. And then the third is the most important part and the hardest for adults to do. And the third step is called let go. Take your mind off it. Get distracted. And it's like doing an arrow. Okay, okay. And there's a certain point in time where you have to just let go and let it fly. And when you let go and you're like, bye, you've aimed and everything, there's nothing more to do. Okay, so when you have phenomena, there is the phenomena of the, and you'll have to come to a PK party because we have 3 hours to do it all, but the phenomena is different. It is real, and it's different than just having your autonomic nervous system respond in a yes or no as an intuitive channel.
I think you misunderstood my question.
Okay.
I wasn't that clear. I'm talking about like muscle testing versus the pendulum. In other words,
Okay, so kinesiology.
Kinesiology. So psychic, what I call psychic kinesiology. I do that all the time myself. I just use my little finger. I ask for yes and no, and then I say, I put out a positive thought saying it's going to rain tomorrow, and then I'll test and I'll get a yes or no on my. So I'm wondering if that is the same.
Very similar,
as,
yes.
As the pendulum. The same,
yes, same type of, yeah. Yeah, except when you're using, except it's using different muscles and it's using different energy flows depending on which muscle you're using to test, because we're getting into kinesiology. And so a lot of people, I was trained at very, very technical aspects of kinesiology, and so it's, yes, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
but
it's
when
tricky too, because you have I get false readings all the time. It's not 100%. And then false readings
yeah, because when you're doing
preconceived ideas.
right, when you're doing kinesiology for someone else, which is a type of a muscle monitoring. Number one, when you touch someone, and we'll do an exercise right now to show you. Who wants to play a game?
Is this about intuition?
Yes. Everything's about intuition. Okay. All right. So all I need is everyone to, okay. So here I have a ping pong ball, sort of. And it's got a battery and a light in it, and a little thing. It has two, oops. It has two, what do you call that? Metal, electric, I don't know. Two metal plates there. And when you connect the two, you connect the circuit electrically. And it's like, no. And you don't feel anything, okay? So I'm connecting the circuit. So let's all stand up for a moment and let's all hold hands.
Make it go bigger.
Okay, I'm not going to hold your hand. Okay, so I'm going to put my pointer finger on one of the things. We're all going to hold hands, and if you take your pointer finger and don't touch me, just touch the metal bar. Okay, so I don't know why it's not lit.
Why isn't it lighting up?
I don't know.
Think the light everybody.
Okay, but you can see, you can hear that it's connecting. All right, don't press really hard, just lightly. Okay, so watch this. Everybody keep holding hands except us. Okay, now back. Okay, you let go there. Now together. Okay, are you separated?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's happening is we're arcing. It's your ring. No, I don't. Okay, try that.
Oh boy.
Try it. You do it. Okay, so it's not you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it is? It's the microphone. Here, you guys squish together. It's me. I'm grounding it out. And no. Just here. You guys do it. Hold it. You hold hands. Okay, well, I don't know what's happening. But somebody's ground, it's usually me with the microphone, which I've found out. Yeah, here, let's try it.
It's connecting, it's just the power.
Oh wait, I can't do it because I've got the microphone on me.
Hey, Marco, you need to connect the camera loose.
I want to try another finger.
Okay, anyway, you get the idea?
Yeah.
Now, normally, okay, everybody sit down. Normally, I go through everybody, and everybody, like one person, you let go, and then you touch and let go. And that's kind of cool because you get to see, until you really see it. Yeah, it is. And I'm sorry it didn't quite work, but usually I've had it as much as 50 people through, and everyone like lets go, and then you hook up, and then and you see it, but when it's actually your turn, it's like, oh my God. Okay, so just pretend that just happened. All right. So everybody gets the idea. So we're all connecting in a circuit. You don't feel it, but there's electricity running through everyone. So when you do kinesiology, there are a lot of things that can impact an accurate response. It could be, when I was taught kinesiology, it was a holographic kinesiology. It's very, very advanced. And to get started, I would have to take a person and clear one muscle on, off, on, the other muscle on, off, on. So it's called bilateral. And then I would have to clear their jaw, their hips, my jaw, and my hips before I could start. Sometimes that would take 20 minutes just to get a clear signal circuit. Okay, and so a lot of people use, I was executive director of Touch for Health 2 different times, and so I was very involved with that whole movement for a period of time. And so a lot of times Dr. Thie, who started Touch for Health, which was the layman's ability to use the kinesiology that the doctors want to keep as doctors. Yeah. And Dr. Thie kept, as a chiropractor, kept taking these classes and kept saying, this is such good stuff and it's so easy to do. Why don't you, kept saying to the teacher, why don't you write a book and put it out to the everyday family so the families could keep each other balanced, so there won't have to have so many people getting sick. He says, no, it's for doctors only. And Dr. Thie kept saying that. And the teacher said, if you're so bent on having somebody write a book, you write the book. And he did. He wrote Touch for Health. And within 25 years, over 10 million copies were sold, and Touch for Health was launched. There were 26 organizations worldwide. And it helped put kinesiology on the map. Okay, but in one of the last lectures I saw Dr. Thie give, he talked about intentionality. And he basically said a lot of people are practicing with just intention, and they're not really practicing properly from technical standpoints, but the results are coming in. So what is the placebo effect? And he kept saying, if Touch for Health is a placebo effect, I don't care at this point in my life, as long as people are getting healthy. And he left it at that. Okay, but when you see so dramatic miracles happening with people using different types of kinesiology, turning on muscles from quadriplegics, which I've seen my teachers do with specific, I do a type of acupuncture, I call it sacred geometry through the acupuncture system. I use something called a CHN.Inc, which is it's like the back of a ballpoint pen. It just kind of stimulates. And so in a week-long class, I had to learn something like 156 acupuncture points and how to use them. And he was such a brilliant, that teacher, Richard, passed away on 11/12, the 11/11/11 gateway. That's when he left. My other teacher, Patricia, left in, I think it was 2006. Either 2005 or 2006, at the full moon on June 21st at 4:44 in the morning. Talk about light ascending to light. So I've had some really extraordinary opportunities. So I sit there and I do all this acupuncture point without needles, and it opens up all the chakras. And you can do some type of etheric surgery, and there's 6 types of adjustments you want to look for. The projection front and back for each chakra. The spin, which actually it should oscillate. I asked to teach one of my friends, a registered nurse who also did holistic practitioner. And I said, which way do the chakras spin? You've taken a lot more classes than me. And she says, I don't know. I said, what do you mean? You've taken all these classes. I don't know. And I said, not acceptable answer, Linda. What, how could that be? You don't know. And she said, the chakras spin the way the teachers say they spin.
Wait a minute.
I said, wait a minute. And she says, well, you take a class and the teacher will say this way, this way, this way, this way. 90% of the people test that way. You take another class and they say females spin to the right, males spin to the left. 90% of the people test that way. And so she said, I could give you case after case, but the only answer I can give you is, which way do the chakras spin? The way the teachers say they will. So I called my teacher, Richard, who does the research, and I said, which way do the chakras spin? He said, don't bother me with these questions. Come to class. And I had the next 8 weeks, I was flying back and forth to Tucson every other weekend for eight sessions. And basically, remember the wagon wheel movies where it shows the wagon wheel start to move, the old westerns, and then as it starts to go faster, it's moving this way and it looks like it's going that way. So even if you have accurate clairvoyant vision and you look at a chakra from that wagon wheel movie, which way is it spinning? Even if you see it that way. And if you think it's going to go a certain way, your thoughts are going to influence it, and it's going to go the way you think it's going to go.
Well,
And
that's
so-
quantum physics now. They know.
Exactly, quantum physics. And so you have to really be, that's why I love Jack Houck. As a scientist, he really knew so much advanced material, but he also knew how to be neutral and how to set up a test as neutral as possible. With the bending of the spoons, when he started, he had one test. He had all the equipment. He tested the strength and tensile strength of 3 different sets of forks and spoons. Took a whole batch and broke it up into 3, tested